everyone's having a wonderful night and got a good start to your week. Darkness Live Tribe. Ha! You guys all made it early, and we were running just a little bit late. We were in the middle.
No. They're not early, and we're not late. We arrived precisely when we mean to.
Oh, okay, Gandalf.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Yep. Hope you guys all had a great Monday, beginning of the week. Hey, Monday's over with. I feel like after I get done with my first visit on Monday, it's like I blink, and it's like the end of Thursday.
Oh,
For
man.
real.
I know, right? So, very staticky, really?
That didn't help. Hey, is my microphone working, guys?
Message from the dark side there is.
Message from the dark side.
I know, right? How about now? Is that better? I don't know why it's static. Is it?
Is it like a bad drive-through window?
Is it just one of us or both of us that are staticky? Talk.
Hello. Luke, I am not your father. Yep, both of us are staticky.
Huh.
You know, I'm really thinking that eventually we'll go live and it'll be like smooth sailing.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait, it's us, maybe not. I appreciate all the people that like bear with us through the first like 10 minutes.
I know, right? I don't know what the hell don't know what the hell to do with all this.
Well, can you fix it?
So it gets staticky the louder we
Oh.
are. Okay, how about now? Is that better?
Oh, let me try that.
No, they said, Carl said you're good.
I'm good. Okay.
How about now? Is that better?
Is it better?
Well, yeah, why don't you talk and bring them in a little bit? I've got to get this.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's Monday. We should plug. Guys, don't forget we have our contest going for a new slogan that ends on August 31st. And, we just decided why not reach out and, ask your guys' opinion on something we end our show with versus what we're using, because what we're using is kind of lame.
Yeah,
We need a new slogan. And the slogan, if we choose your slogan, you will be on the back of the shirt with who coined the phrase, basically.
Yeah, you'll get,
So-
it's going to be whoever wins it, you're going to get a free shirt with the slogan on it. It's going to be almost a one-off shirt, except it's not a one-off, it's a three-off, I guess. Because we're getting 3 of them made, one for Stephanie, one for me, and one for whoever wins. And it's going to have the Darkness Live. Well, I can pull the pictures up here, maybe.
Pull it up. Get on it.
It'll have the Darkness Live logo on the front, kind of like this. And it'll have the let's see here. Where is it?
I love the design, by the way. You're really good at designing things.
The new slogan on the back, like that, and with the credit. Whose blood is on the back wall?
It's funny that you say that, Carl, because, we forgot to put up the banner thing.
No, I didn't put it up on purpose.
Oh, really? Okay.
I want people to see that I'm actually doing work in here. I'm not just talking about it.
Oh, you're a doer, not a talker, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's weird, Carl, because I was like,
That's a drink, by the way.
I said, Jeremiah, what is that red on the back of the wall? He's like, it's been here since we moved in. And I'm like, oh, I totally have never noticed it. He said, that's because the Darkness Live banner used to be behind us. So, anyways, Sheila asked if we can order the shirts.
So these particular shirts that we're talking about now, I'll go back to that. Those are special editions. There's only going to be 3 of those made, one for Stephanie, one for me, and one for whoever wins the slogan contest. And if you want to enter the slogan contest, go to the Darkness Live Facebook page. There is a post pinned at the top of the page talking all about the slogan contest. You got till August 31st, and you can enter as many times as you want with as many ideas as you want.
Hey, and just FYI, because a few people just tuned in, we're talking about, so at the end of every podcast, Jeremiah and I have a slogan or something that we end the show with, and it's kind of lame, and so we decided to reach out to all of our people that like to watch and extend an offer to come up with a new slogan for us, and we will put your name on the back of the shirt with the slogan. So, yay! I'm pretty stoked about it. Hey, Christy. Hey, Linda. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Ben. Hi, Pamela. Captain. The good captain is watching.
Of course.
And Sharon is watching. That makes me so happy. Hi, Sharon. It's been so long. Kenna. Hey, Kenna.
I will say, though, that if you're interested in ordering T-shirts, keep an eye out, because I do have this one that will be coming available very soon. I'm in the process of setting up the online store back up so that we can sell these.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to charge for them just yet. You know, and it's a T-shirt. You know,
they'll be nice T-shirts.
Oh yeah, they're
quality.
good quality Gildan, nice shirts. So
hey, so Linda asked, what is the current slogan? What's the slogan now? Oh, you ready? You ready? It's intense. Don't be afraid of the dark. I know, right, guys? It's like, come on, you guys couldn't come up with something better. Yeah. Well, that's why we're reaching out to you guys, because we can't. But that's okay. So, I'm so excited about tonight's show. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Oh, by the way,
we've got
Darkness Tavern. Max got Lena's room booked.
So yeah,
we're ready to go.
Nailing stuff down for the Darkness Tavern on September 19th.
Yep, Saturday, September 19th. That's going to be
It's going to be a blast. We're going to
so
have a
fun.
birthday party for Lena, and who's going to be here in studio with us, and the Darkness Tavern crew.
And Lena's bringing her crystal ball, her coins, her tarot deck. She's going to do readings for all of us.
Yeah,
that night.
She's going to be doing readings all night, and we're going to have the camera system set up so that you can see the reading table and all that good stuff. And
see her in action.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's a sight to see. So make sure you don't put that on your calendar. And then she actually will be our guest the following Monday on the 21st. So we get lots of Lena time.
Yep.
We have this kind of running joke that, we love our Lena time because she's Lena. The name Lena pretty much sums up. Oh, Linda wondered if you're going to be jumping out of the cake.
Probably not. I mean, there's not that much room in here, so.
It's a good thought, Linda. It'll be fun, right? That would be fun. That would be funny. And with your beard, you'd have plenty of cake for later, right?
I mean,
Oh my God, did I really say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might want to drink to that on my behalf. Anyways, I want to mention one more thing before we. I want to mention one more thing before we get our guest on here.
Well, there's a few more things.
Okay. So first off, so I'm on this wellness journey. Remember, with Tay and Lakin, and man, it's.
You're leaning way too far out.
Okay, there we go. I'm on this wellness journey with Tay and Lakin, and it's working really, really well. Sticking to it. I feel like a racehorse with blinders on. I've dropped. How much weight have I lost so far? Over
20.
As of last Wednesday, I've lost over 20 pounds, and I've been doing this since July 9th. So, if anybody else wants the lifestyle changes, reach out and we can get you hooked up with Tay and Lakin and their Manasol Holistic Adventure. I'll call it that. So they're pretty incredible and very I was going to say inspiring and inspirational at the same time, but I'm not sure how that would have come out. So inspiring. Okay. So Linda asked, how about Esty?
I don't know. Esty, would you be up for jumping out of a cake? Is that what she's talking about?
I'm not sure if she's talking about that or if she's talking specifically about having Esty on. Because I had already, Linda, get out of my brain, because I had already talked to Esty and I want to have him come, out and,
Mm-hmm.
Do do readings for all those, because his readings, whew, they're good. Let me just put it that
Yeah.
way. Accurate. Good.
Yeah.
Cake,
She was
cake,
talking
cake.
about the cake.
Okay, well, Linda, you were talking about the cake, so I just gave you some insight to future Darkness Tavern episodes, right? Okay, enough of that chit chat. What else do you have to say? I want to get our guest on. I'm a Sagittarius and I'm impatient.
Well, just hold your dadgum horses.
I don't have horses.
Well, get some
I
or
don't have
something.
any dogs, cats, pigs.
Always down
nothing.
for that. I'll get some tassels and spin some fire. Hey. That's awesome.
That's great. Love it. Love it.
So, and then keep an eye out for details for coming up soon about. Oh shit!
What? Oh, you still have.
We still had the T-shirts up.
You need to
I got
drink- you
sidetracked
need
and
to take a
wasn't
drink
paying
on that
attention.
one for yourself. The tides are shifting. You're drinking more for yourself than me lately.
I
it
know,
seems.
right? Right.
Man.
So, just put the "May the Force be with you" on the shirt.
Tiffany said, "Can we see your face?"
So, keep an eye out for details for an event we have coming up. We're working on planning up in late November. It's going to be a lot of fun. The event we're talking about.
Are you going to talk about it?
I mean, I can't really divulge
Are
a
you,
lot
like,
of
so
details because I don't have them
excited?
hammered down enough yet. But we're going to be at a very haunted town in Kansas, planning to try and do a live investigation or a live feed, live show,
From
something,
a location.
something
Yes.
from a very cool location.
We did. We got
So-
invited. We got invited.
Yeah, it's
gonna be a lot
we'll,
of fun.
we'll get details about that published as soon as we can start putting them out.
So that means we have to like stay the night in the haunted location, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll survive. I
will
promise
survive.
you will.
I will. You
You should have seen her at the when we were in Wilson last year at the Midland Railroad Hotel. I neglected to tell her that the haunted hotel
Was where we were staying the night.
was actually where we were staying. And she wouldn't stay in the room for more than about 15 minutes at a time unless I was in there with her
I was
after
pretty
that.
freaked
So
out.
that was funny.
Yeah.
So
Okay. All right. You got anything else to add? Chime in.
we are going to be rescheduling the live investigation that we did have going here at our personal residence.
Sorry about that, guys. We just got blasted with some terrible news. and
Yeah,
we just
I mean
kinda
it was
were
just
not-
it was a rough
was just
weekend and all
not-
that, but
It wasn't meant to happen then, so maybe stuff will happen when we have the next one, right?
yeah, I mean, we'll get all that worked out and get stuff going on and get it announced as soon as we kind of get it
Yep.
planned.
Yep.
So
Hey, Sheila asked are we going to the Sally House in Atchison?
no, it's not the Sally House. I don't know how much liberty I can take with divulging the location
We better not yet.
just yet, but it is in Atchison, but it's not the Sally House. So we are very excited.
For those who are not aware, what is the Sally House?
The Sally House is supposedly one of the most haunted location in Kansas. It's like there's all kinds of legend and folklore behind it, and
Where's the spider?
huh?
Where's the spider?
I think I said it over there.
Oh, I was about to have a panic attack. That calls for a
It's
drink.
either there or it's on top of the dresser.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Drink for me.
So the spider guys, I was at a residence today, and one of the people that live at the residence captured a spider for me in a little Tupperware, and it's still alive. And as soon as it dies, I'm going to cast it in resin, but it's actually a brown recluse. And so that's why I'm like, oh my God, where's the spider? Because, yeah, we definitely don't want to lose track of a brown recluse spider that's in a little Tupperware container. That would be bad. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna mess with it anyway.
You never know. Yeah,
No.
Sophie's too freaked out by it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So-
enough time has been spent on yakking. Let's get our guest on. So go ahead about introducing him.
Okay, so
You
Our-
read the post. Yep.
yes, our guest tonight.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so
Okay,
excited.
let me get this set back up here.
Sheila said, "Pull out that White Russian." LOL. Sheila, I don't drink on camera because. How do I explain this?
She's a lightweight.
Yeah, that's an understatement. I'm an under lightweight.
Half a White Russian, and she would be
Not
yeah,
talking.
not
sitting
not in
upright.
good shape for the camera. So
Yeah. Super sensitive.
Okay.
Super sensitive to any kind of anything.
Okay, so moving on to our guest tonight. I had him up once, and then I took him back down, and now we'll put him back up. Special guest, Bub Powell. Bub is a very interesting fellow.
That's one word for him. That's one group of words for him. That's probably actually, sorry, I won't interrupt anymore. Go ahead.
You're okay. You're okay. I'm trying to get back
Hey,
to...
Nicole
there we are.
Nicole
Okay.
chimed in. Hi, Nicole.
So, Bub describes himself as an aspiring student. He is studying medical legal death investigation. He likes to live with the desire to care less about things, loosen your grip on life, stop glancing back every few steps in fear that someone will take it from you before you reach the end of the line. Rather, hold life loosely and lightheartedly, like a blunt, keeping it in rotation with only quick, momentary interventions passing freely in the hands of trusted friends.
That's a great analogy. That's a great analogy.
He has a bachelor's in photography, 10 plus years in the military service, along with other credentials, presidential support. I don't know what that means, but I'd like to find out.
Yeah, we can ask him.
And he's also a world traveler. Did we also mention that he transports dead bodies for a living?
Yeah, I know, right? I'm pretty excited. Did you say what his quote was? What he ended it with? The quote? I love the quote.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
I love the quote.
Life is stressful, dear. His favorite quote. Life is stressful, dear. That's why they say rest in peace. David Mazzucchelli, something like that.
I have an extra ending for that quote. Life is stressful, dear. That's why they say rest in peace or pieces.
Oh my God. Wow.
Come on, that was appropriate for this. That was appropriate for this guest, right? So we're gonna call Bub up and get him on the phone so we can get this amazing conversation going.
All right, here we go.
Why are there a bunch of nails?
Someday you will find
Oh, that's a great song. It's Wonderwall. It's Wonderwall.
Hello?
Oh, that was a great song, by the way. It was Wonderwall by, oh my God, I love that song.
Oasis.
Oh,
Can you hear her, Bub?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Bub. We meet again via technology. We meet again. I'll be glad when this crap is past, where we can actually start having in studio guests. So I just have to say that I absolutely love your quote, your favorite quote. How do you say the guy who coined that phrase about life is stressful, dear. That's why they say rest in peace. How do you say his name?
Let me see. Off the top of my head, I have to go back and look at it.
Mazzucchelli, David
It is, where'd it go? Oh yeah, I call it Mazzucchelli, but I'm not sure if that's actually accurate. Mazzucchelli is what I was just what I've always called it.
Yeah,
We'll
call it good at that.
Yeah, we'll go with it because that quote is incredible. How did you find that quote?
I should probably Google that someday and actually learn how to pronounce it correctly. If I'm wrong.
There we go.
How did you find that quote? Where did you come across that?
Just online somewhere. I was reading about death-related stuff,
Awesome.
and yeah, I just came across it.
Okay, so let's just dive right in here, Bub. So I want you to tell the viewers.
What was that?
I want you to tell our viewers. First off, I can't say that, but how I found you, not specifically how I found you, but what did you used to do first off?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that.
Okay.
Yes.
So I met Stephanie at work.
I'm gonna go check on the spider.
Thank you.
I'll be right
He's
back.
going to go check on our brown recluse. Bub, I have a brown recluse that's waiting to get cast in resin. I'm just waiting for it to die.
Oh, that's good.
It's captured in a little Tupperware. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
All right. Well, anyways, I met Stephanie at work doing dead body removals, transports, and stuff for a mortuary service, a contract mortuary service. And we were talking basically about my job and what it entails. And from there, she asked me to possibly be a guest on a podcast at some point.
Yes, and
that
some point has arrived. Our little paths crossed, and here they're crossing again in the universe and in this crazy chaotic makeup of of energy and all that stuff, all that good stuff.
Right.
Yes, and so I just have to flat out ask you, how can you do? Okay, so dealing with the dead. Does it ever phase you? I mean, like, constantly picking up dead bodies, and do you also do picking up parts of dead bodies? Like, if there was some gruesome thing that happened, and do they call you to pick up?
I absolutely do.
Oh my God, you do.
Such
Wow.
as garbage bags full of entrails on the sides of the road.
Oh my God.
Which may or may not be human.
Oh my God. So, can you tell me about your first off, how did you even get into doing this?
I got into this job actually because I thought long and hard about getting into a field revolving around death, such as a mortuary, being an embalmer, a funeral director, crematory operator, all of the above. And it actually just so happened that my sister wanted to do the same thing. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. You know, we were both military. She's still active. But we were like talking about when she gets out, we can move close and like co-own a mortuary together, you know.
Wow.
Like we're both gingers. And I was like, oh, we can name it cool. Something like Your Soul's in Good Hands, you know.
There you go.
But she's still active duty, so, you know, she's a chief in the military, so let her do her thing till later, and then we'll figure that out. But anyways, I got into looking up board of directors of the state of Kansas for funeral directors and such, and I got in contact with one of the board of directors who I just wanted to kind of like interview about the career field and where to go to school, what to learn, things like that. So he actually gave me some of his time and shared with me some great information. And it just so happens he knew somebody that kind of needed some help. And it was like a great field for me to step my foot in the door.
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
Within a couple days, I had a job that I didn't even know I was applying for.
Wow.
It worked out pretty cool.
Yeah, it did. That's just one of those, like, everything was right, and it happened for you, and you took advantage, and I'm so glad you did. So
just kind of like an alignment of good luck.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so tell me about your first experience getting that call. Hey, we've got a dead one. No, like what would they do? Would they call you and say so and so has died? Here's the address, or how would they get a hold of you?
Okay, so you mentioned my first experience with such a thing. Mm-hmm. That was actually many years before I was in that job altogether.
Oh, okay.
That would be back in when I was doing presidential support in the military. I was actually working where, of course, the president lives, Washington, D.C., Andrews Air Force Base. I was also there around 9/11 and got tasked to work at the Pentagon for the 2 weeks following that day.
Oh my God.
So that was my first big experience of seeing things.
Yeah, because Jeremiah and I, when he was reading your bio, when it said presidential support, we weren't. I'm glad you clarified that because we weren't quite sure what that exactly entailed. So wow, you were like in it, like you were in it when the shit hit the fan, literally. Like, oh my God.
Yep, I was there. What was cool is I got to work at the Pentagon, which is a great experience. It was just, I don't want to say fun, but it was great to be there and do my part.
Wow.
And then my sister, who's still active duty, she got to go work at the Twin Towers on the naval ship, helping those people.
Oh my God.
So it was kind of interesting.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah.
That's incredible. If you don't mind when Jeremiah comes back, if you will save that part again, because he has, like he's never been in the military, but it's just like that is one of the things for us, we have the utmost respect for people who do, because it's just, thank you, by the way. Thank you for your service. That's
You're
just
welcome.
something that you can't even, there's no words to express genuinely, how grateful people should be for you guys. Okay, so we got totally sidetracked. He would totally could drink a beer right now if he was sitting here, because, Bub, we have a running joke on this show. Every time I get sidetracked or he does, he has to drink a beer. So tonight he brought 4 beers. I think he's hopeful. There's lots of side conversations. But so back to what we were talking about you and your first experience with a dead body. Like, do they call you and say chicken's done, or do they, like, how do they get the message to you that you had a delivery? Oh my God, it's not pizza. You had a pickup.
Right.
You had a pickup. Like, what would they say?
Well, that depends on who's calling me. I worked for a very unique company that had a contract in multiple counties with multiple entities, coroners, funeral homes, such like that, but not open to the general public. So, for example, if you had a relative that died and you were looking for somebody to do the services, you could not call up my company.
Okay.
Because it's open to corporations and businesses that are in that field.
Okay.
And they basically, my phone number, just by word of mouth, as I get into working with such entities, I start giving out my phone number, my personal phone number, or whatever number I'm working with.
Okay.
Such as the coroners or death investigators, medical examiners, security at hospitals, or any entities that might call for my services.
So when you say entity that might call for your services, are you talking about the dead bodies that need your services, or are you talking about the people who need to get the body somewhere?
The people that need to get the bodies somewhere.
Okay. I just had to clarify that. Jeremiah's back. So I want him to tell you the
My first
presidential support.
experience.
Be prepared to be blown out of the water with this, okay?
Okay.
All right, Bub. Yes. Sorry. Please repeat that.
All right. So I was asked what my first experience was with being called to deal with death. And it turns out it wasn't my last job. It was 9/11. I got tasked to work at the Pentagon the 2 weeks following, starting on 9/11.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Oh, my God.
Simultaneously, my sister got to work at the Twin Towers on the naval ship.
Oh
Helping.
my. Wow.
Do you want this back closer? Okay.
So
Wow.
that was quite a big experience, and my first big visual into a death catastrophe.
Well,
Oh
imagine.
God, I can't even. I can't even imagine. Any human soul that has any bone of empathy in their body. I can't even imagine. Like, that just. Oh, jeez. Anyways, okay. So thank you for revisiting that. Like I said, I knew you'd want to hear that, because I told him we were kind of curious what presidential support
Yeah,
was.
I mean that's amazing. I mean, horrible and amazing at the same time, because
Right. It's a great experience and something that, you can't really take away, and I wouldn't want to. I mean,
Right.
I got to do my part, so.
Oh my God. Okay, so now we're gonna revisit what we were talking about with how I asked him about how basically do they call and say the chicken's done? Do they call and say we got one for you? What do they, Okay, bub. Sorry, let's get back
Okay.
on track here.
Okay, back on track there. And then the way that all works is by individual. So when I give my phone number out to people, I just tell them, text me. Just text me what you need. You don't have to call me and waste time like trying to tell me over the phone while I'm trying to find a pen to write it down. You text me the information. I got it. I will reply and let you know that I got it, and then I'll be on my way. So I might get something as simple as an address at some point.
Oh my
No
God.
name, no idea of what I'm walking into, just an address. And I set all my ringtones to a very alarming tone, so I know it's all the same, and it's my time to go.
Wow.
So, I mean, it could just be an address. It could be full details of everything that I'm walking into. From things like, it's just a table transfer at a hospital, or it's you got 100 people outside that are irate. You're walking through them all.
Oh my
stuff.
God.
I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, every time I get a text, it's from somebody different. Or, I mean, obviously I get texts from people repeatedly, but it could be any number of people texting me to go do a service that I need to make a removal, or to transport somebody to a crematorium, or to make a removal from the morgue at any hospital or the coroner's office and transport it to any number of mortuaries. I mean, my job kind of went all over the place, all
Wow.
hours of the day.
No. Go. Sorry, kiddos just came out. It's like, no, go back in. Okay, wow, that's really, really interesting. So, can you recall the first moment that you went to pick up a body? And I mean, it was like, oh shit, like it's not even in one piece. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Try again.
Yes.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. So my question was, can you talk about, or can you recall your first experience with going to pick up a body, and then when it hit you that, wait, this isn't a intact body?
An intact body, my
Yeah.
kind of first experience to go remove one.
Yes.
I remember one specific one from my very first week.
Ooh.
And it's the only particular one I remember. It was a hoarder's house,
Oh, my.
and we had to dig him out.
Oh wow.
And it was a big process because, like, I literally mean dig, and
Oh my God.
we had to use like 8-foot ladders inside his house because we had to dig through the stuff and get him up over it and out.
Oh my God.
Holy cow! Wow.
Was he was it a larger human?
What's that?
Was it a larger human?
Yes.
Oh my God. Had he been deceased for a while before they found him?
What was that?
Had he been deceased for a while before they found him?
Yes, he was quite along through the stages of decomposition.
Oh God! Do you have to put peppermint oil under your nose at all to be able to get through some of these?
You can do stuff like that every once in a while, and cinnamon bark oil is actually better. Cinnamon bark oil is known to actually stop decay.
Wow.
Oh wow!
It's an actual better substance to use on a mask or something and put over your face. But typically you just kind of get used to it, and there's certain things like you make sure when you're done being around a decaying body is you blow your nose, because you get everything that inside your sinuses has captured that scent, and that's the best thing you can do is get it all out. So get away from that scene when you're done and blow your nose, because that'll linger around in there for a week or two, and then you'll be doing things like, I'm gonna go get some like Jimmy John's or something, and then you're gonna be like, And it's like 4 days later, and you're like, "What's up with this Jimmy John's?" And it's just the smell trapped in your nose, and you're like,
Oh my God.
"Oh."
That's terrible.
I have to tell you, speaking of smell, so,
That's the way it works. They say, you see on TV, put Vicks under your nose, stuff like that.
yeah.
Mentholate them. That's bad. That's the worst thing you can do, because that opens up your sinuses and that makes you inhale it deeper.
Oh my God.
So,
my
cinnamon bark oil is the way to go.
Cinnamon bark. I'm going to remember that because,
And
speaking
you could
of.
also, make like a spray with some cinnamon bark oil and some vegetable glycerin and some alcohol.
Oh,
like
dude.
some vodka, and you can make a spray, and you can spray things like spots where decay has been, or spray a body itself if you need to like transport it. And in certain scenarios you can't spray bodies, in some you can, to cover the sense. It just depends on the situation. Every scenario is different.
Oh my God. You should totally make that and market it and come up with some really quirky name for your spray, bub. It would sell.
Right.
It would totally sell. I can just
Right.
imagine some really like off the wall death humor, name for a spray like that. I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but it would be
Death
like
delay spray.
Yes. There we go. The death delay spray. There we go. I love it. So I got to ask, since his particular body was pretty far into the decaying process, when you removed him, did an arm pop off, or, did it come apart in pieces, or was there entrails hanging out, or what?
Every single one of those scenarios have happened to me numerous
Oh my
times.
God. Really?
Yes. Every single one. I have pulled people's limbs off.
Oh my God.
I've transported people where their ribs start falling out, attached to like pieces of their spine, because they're that far decayed. I've picked up people that have been decomposing for 6 months or more.
Wow. Oh my
And,
gosh.
depending on the scenario, decay is very different for everyone, depending on things like body size or where they're at, their location, the environment they're in, the clothes they're wearing, stuff like that.
Wow.
So, sometimes people will get to the mummification stage a lot quicker than others, depending on if they're outside or inside.
So here's a question for you. So, Jeremiah and I, in our line of business, a lot of people, it's like, oh, the buck stops here, they're dead. The patient passed, and that's the end of it. No. You're technically the transporter of where the buck stops. And my question is, so when we're doing post-mortem care for a patient that has just passed, they want, you want the jaw closed as best you can, you want them flat as best you can.
Right.
Is there anything to that, or is that more for the family when we do that sort of thing, in your opinion?
The all of that is because of the way the body will settle, and depending on things like a funeral, they may want an open casket, they might want to have a service like that, but you don't know, they might just be cremated. So when I transport a body to a table for any scenario, I place the hands on top of each other on the chest, with like the left hand on top. Why? Because that's where a wedding we would show if somebody's going to wear one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It helps that body set in that position. Sometimes you might use tools to like prop up elbows to get them to stay. Every body shape is different, and gravity is the only thing that's working in that scenario. So you have to use ways to prop up the body to set it in place.
Wow. I am just like totally like in awe right now, bub. Like, I mean it. Jeremiah, when's the last time you've seen me like this? Like, I am seriously like in awe. Like, bub, I'm convinced like in past lives that I dealt with death, rituals and body preparation and stuff like that, because I'm so drawn to end of life. And so it's, I don't know your personal beliefs, but I personally do believe like in past lives, like this has been a reoccurring theme for me. And so what do you go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know my personal beliefs either. I'm still figuring that out.
That's okay. There's always time to make changes, right? There's always
Exactly.
There's
I got
always
till I
time.
die, and then I'll figure out something after that if there is.
There you
something.
go. There you go. So Jeremiah, do you have any questions for him off the top of your head?
Well, we'll get to my questions after a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. So my next question, do you ever, so you literally would transport the bodies and everything. Have you, so you mentioned earlier that you might have, 50 irate people or however many you said, a bunch of people, irate people.
Sure.
When you arrive, can you kind of elaborate on those types of scenarios?
Gang shooting.
Oh my God.
Something like that where the body might be a form of evidence that people might want to get rid of, or anything
Ooh, I've never
like.
had thought of that. That's wow.
Yep. I mean, there's oftentimes where I pick up a body and then I'm also getting a police escort, just for my own safety.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
Depends on the scenario.
So this is kind of a not morbid question, obviously, but what about like babies or kids or children? Like, have you ever had to pick up bodies of little people?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I've picked up children as young as stillborn.
oh my God.
I've picked up children from child abuse cases
Oh,
from their own parents. I've picked up child accidents like run over by vehicles,
oh.
or things like natural causes such as SIDS.
So have you actually, like, I'm assuming, gone to somebody's home to pick up the body?
Yes.
How
Many times.
have you been met with? Primarily, what are you met with? Are you met with anger? Are you met with don't take the body? Are you met with? I mean, what are you met with in those circumstances?
Oh, that's all over the place. It just depends on the individual. Everybody grieves differently. Sometimes it's very complicated for a mother to let go of her child.
Right.
I mean, it's not a body; it's her baby.
Right. Oh.
No.
God, that. So if you do, okay, so like when you pick up a normal sized adult, you put them on the gurney and you zip
Yes.
it up. But what about a little person? Like, is it the same gurney or is it smaller or is it?
The gurneys are the same, and every scenario is different. I might take a gurney into a scenario where I don't know the age of a baby, and I might carry a 1-week-old baby on a gurney just because I didn't know it was a baby.
Oh my God.
But there's a lot of scenarios where I won't take a gurney in. I'll just carry it out in my hands. I'll wrap it up in a blanket, cradle it and carry it out to the vehicle, and I will put it in the gurney in the vehicle.
So
Sometimes it's easier to do visuals away from the parents for them.
Yes. That's what I was kind of leading. That's what I was getting ready to ask you about.
Yep. I never put a child in a body bag because it's a horrible thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't have to do that on scene. I can always do that somewhere else.
Right.
When I get to a mortuary or when I get to the coroner's office, the parents don't have to see their baby get put in a bag.
Yeah. Well, I can't even imagine, and thank you for having that, decency, because that's, I'm sure that specific part of your job was probably never fun. Like, not that your job would be fun, but it would be very fascinating and interesting. But I imagine the cases that you would get called out for little people would be awful.
There's some pretty bad cases,
Man. So do you ever, like, when you were doing that, how do you sleep at night? Like, how would you get through,
How does it not affect me emotionally?
Yes, there you go. Thank you. Yes, that.
The quick and simple answer is I don't have emotions because I'm autistic. I just carry it all differently.
Oh, wow. So that, there is a job for everybody. And you know
Exactly.
what? That's incredible. I can't really.
I have a
Go
I have a
ahead.
strength that a neurotypical person doesn't have a lot of the times. Sometimes they do, just not every one of them.
Right.
I just don't have emotional barriers.
Wow. So
Yeah.
when something is no longer living, you just do not have any kind of an emotional response, pretty much.
Pretty much, you know.
That could be a blessing in disguise. That would be a blessing in disguise for what you have to do. And there has to be people like you out there, like there has to be people that do that job, because so
Right.
many people like could not do that job, like Jeremiah and I, it's like so many people are like, oh my God, I could never do your job. And I'm thinking, but I love my job. But honestly, Bub, I don't know that I could do your job. I don't think I could handle that.
A lot of people can't do my job, and I actually had to train my replacement.
What's the
Well,
first thing you said to him?
Well, which the first one or the second one? Because neither one of them made it.
Oh, okay. What was the moment that they realized they couldn't do it? What was the moment?
Children.
That was the
Children
moment.
was the first one that couldn't make it. He basically I gave him all the information, and he was doing great. He thought he wanted this job, and then I started talking about children, and he started to crumble at just talking about it.
Oh.
You could just see it in him, and then, well, it was his first day, so he hadn't even got to see the cooler yet, which of course we had children in the cooler.
Wait, whoa. Elaborate on this part. The cooler?
Yes, that's where you store bodies.
Do they each have an individual locker, or is it like one giant cooler that you just put all the bodies in?
There's both kinds.
Whoa.
There's some refrigerators that are single or two bodies. There's some refrigeration units that are 50, 60 bodies.
Great big
Every
walk-in.
mortuary has one. Every coroner's office or medical examiner's office has one. Every university or school that has cadavers has one. It's where a body is stored. It's usually kept at about in the mid 40 degrees temperature.
To preserve
You don't
it.
actually freeze them. You just keep them cool, because that helps slow decay as well.
Right.
wow.
And then say you pick up a body and you can't get a hold of the family. You don't know where they're at. You got to do research. Maybe that takes a week or 6 or, whatever.
Oh my God.
Or nobody claims the body. I mean, we keep bodies for 6 months that don't get claimed.
Mm-hmm.
What happens after 6 months?
Then they go get cremated.
Oh, so that's what's happening. Like, if nobody claims you, you're
Unless they're veterans. Veterans will get a plot in a potter's field if they're unclaimed veterans. But typically, indigents don't get a burial; they get a cremation. But then their ashes get stored. They don't throw them away. They just get stored until indefinitely. Whenever, if 50 years from now somebody wants to claim their dead relative's ashes, they will still be available.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. They don't dispose of them. I think they have. I don't even know, so I'm not gonna throw out a number. But I mean, they had like cremains dating way before I was even born.
Wow.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, what's
But
the
you never know when somebody's going to do some genealogy research and
Right?
go looking for somebody that was estranged in their family.
So like,
I mean, I had a personal experience with my sister where, my mother told me she was kidnapped and she was 8 years old, and then I never talked to her until she was 23 when, I actually used an investigator to find her.
wow.
But yeah, any number of scenarios. And that's a lot of the times people decompose because it's a normal routine for them not to talk to their family.
Right.
Right.
So if nobody thinks nothing's wrong because nobody's communicating, they're just going to keep decaying in their house.
Right.
There was actually, I think it was 4 months. A man was dead in his house. He lived alone for 4 months. He had children and grandchildren. Just nobody called to check on him for 4 months.
So the moral of the story: call and check on your family and your friends, right? Oh
Right.
my gosh.
You know, kind of stay relevant in people's lives that you care
Yeah.
about. You know,
Oh my God.
I mean, there's a lot of people out there that like their solitude and like their, you know,
They're hermits.
their privacy and their lack of gathering and communication with people. But you know,
It still
out of
doesn't.
sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to call and check up on someone, even if it's just a few seconds.
Right. You know, I mean, my mother died earlier this year. She was dead in her apartment for about 4 days. But that was long enough for me and my sisters to realize something's wrong. She hasn't called us in a couple days, you know.
Start putting the pieces together. Like, have you talked to mom? No. Have you? No. Uh-oh. Something's
But
wrong.
I lost that.
I said, that's kind of like, you start, communicating and it's like, have you talked to mom lately? And they're like, no. Have you? No. Uh-oh. Somebody better call and check.
Ooh, I'm still not sure what you said. It was all kinds of broken up.
Oh my God. That's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, I just said that was a scenario that, it's like you talk to your siblings. It's like, have you talked to mom lately? No. Have you? No. Well, crap.
Right.
Somebody better call and check on her.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. And you know, it was interesting because I like literally I was already in the Seattle area, and it was like a month after I moved, and I like called the police to like go do a welfare check, and I kept having to call them to go back. I'm like, you know, like literally my mother doesn't not call people for 4 days. It's like, she's dead in her apartment. You need to go in. And I had to call the police 3 times before I figured out some scenario where they would actually go inside to find her.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
And I was like, you know, I mean, I know she was already dead, but I mean, if I was trying to get you to save her life,
Oh yeah.
you were not breaking in. You were just telling me you don't have any ground. She's probably gone for the weekend because everything looks normal. I'm like, no, I know my mother. If she has not called anybody, something's wrong.
Right.
But I could not get that through to the police. They're like, well, nothing looks like anything's been messed with. I was like, well, people don't have to mess with something to die. You can have a heart attack. You can have a stroke.
Right.
I was like, something's wrong. And yeah, it took 3 like long, hard, pressing phone calls to get him to enter her apartment.
Oh my God.
It was terrible. I was like, really? You guys just go knock on the door and you're calling me back saying she's not home? I'm like, yeah, she's home. She doesn't drive. She's agoraphobic. She doesn't go outside. I know my mother, but yeah, couldn't get him to go inside.
Man, I would have been like pissed. I would have been like, why are you not going in? Like I would have started to become enraged about that because
I kind of was, but they have, you know, every police department's got laws and rules that they follow.
right.
And I'm like, okay, when somebody's calling in a welfare check and your rule is we don't enter unless something looks suspicious, that's a dumb rule, for one.
Yeah. Seems contradictory.
Accidents happen. Things don't look suspicious in accidents, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
And it's
sure.
welfare check. I'm checking on her welfare, her well-being. Is she alive? Of course she wasn't.
Oh.
But you know,
So.
police.
Oh.
That's they have rules and laws they got to follow. You have to respect their rules and laws, but you have to figure out how to get what you want when
Get a
when you call
loophole.
them.
You got to find the loophole. Hey, we have a viewer that has a question for you. So
Okay.
if a body, this is going to open up a whole, I know where this is going, by the way. If a body is going for organ donation, is there special preparation? Don't do it.
Yes.
For God's sakes, don't do it. No.
The preparation is just get them into the cooler and wait. They have to get the organs, whether it's MTI, which is Midwest Transplant, or the eye bank or something like that. If they need anything, they only have a limited time within 24 hours to get it
Why is that?
because everything's decomposing.
Gotcha.
As soon as you are deceased, that decay starts instantaneously.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's continuous. You can try to slow it down, but you're not going to stop it. So after 24 hours, you know, a set of eyes isn't going to be any good to anyone. A heart isn't going to be any good to anyone. It's going to be decayed enough to be not in pristine condition to use,
Yeah.
So they have within 24 hours to get that organs and stuff. And here's another thing. If you want to go that route,
Yeah.
just know that the body is not going to be treated well.
Hey, when you say go that route, will you elaborate what you're talking about at the moment?
If you're gonna donate your organs, I was an organ donor until I got into that job. I am no longer an organ donor.
Can you elaborate on? Okay, first off, before you say anything else, can you tell people how to find out if you are an organ donor or if you are not? Because apparently, if I remember correctly, even if you change your license, you're still an organ donor, even if you change it to you're not. Is that correct?
That can be correct.
Whoa.
That can be correct. You can choose to be an organ donor by going to the DMV and putting an endorsement on your license, and they will let the state registry know. You can go and take that off of your license, but they will not let the state registry know. You have to go online and have your name removed there, or else they have the right to take your organs even if your family says no.
Wow. Okay, so now let's go down that road, bub. So you're very strongly against being an organ donor. Explain. Actually, go ahead.
It's strange. Yeah, I'm not against organ donation. I'm against how the organ donation companies return what's left.
Oh my God.
And I mean, I don't want to get into too many details about it, but it's not good. And sometimes there's, like a feeling that it might have been a bad idea to go that route.
Right.
Right. Like some of the things you see, you're like, that's not the way that should have worked.
Right.
I know they have a job to do, but there's certain ways to treat a body, and there's certain ways to do your job with dignity, and sometimes that's not the choices they make.
Oh God, so it's literally like a slaughterhouse, and they just cut it up what they need and then get rid of the rest or send it back to the mortuary?
I mean, there's in any field, in any career, in any job, there's bad people and there's bad workers and there's bad businesses. I mean, there's mortuaries that you see in the news that are, like doing mass burials or putting the wrong bodies in the wrong cremains and giving them out to the wrong families. And
oh my God,
there's all kinds of that stuff, There was a mortuary in like Georgia or South Carolina, and they were doing some weird stuff like sewing a bunch of people together and like hanging them on walls in the basement and stuff like that. I don't remember what.
It's the human centipede. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was weird. They were just like weird sculptures, like a guy that had like 6 arms sewn onto his chest just hanging off, and then they like hung him on the wall. And then they also found out that this mortuary had like tons of bodies stored that were supposed to be buried or cremated. Even within like more than a year has passed. They were just keeping bodies. Like, I don't know if they were burying empty caskets or what.
Oh my God.
Just to appease the family. But, they were doing weird stuff with bodies. It was super strange.
That's
and I don't remember for the life of me where I saw that article, but it came across on Facebook at some point after I saw it initially.
Wow.
Jesus.
That's holy cow.
Oh, that puts a whole new spin on like.
I'm sure it was just some, Google searches with some keywording. It shouldn't be too hard to find, but
right.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting thing,
So, oh my God, I just can't wrap my mind around this. Like this, I'm painting this picture of like a scene from the show Hannibal or something. Just.
Well, I mean, okay, so if you think about it, you got this body that has all the space inside it taken up by things.
Right.
And if you take those things out, then
there's no structure.
So I mean, but that's part of it, so.
Yeah, and there's been numerous criminal events of the past of people transporting things in dead bodies, because it's a big cavity space when you
Yeah.
clear it out,
Oh my god.
and people don't like to look inside.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
Except for me, I want to dig through that thing like a Thanksgiving turkey. I want to see what's in there.
Oh my god. Have you done that? He's silent. He's silent. Maybe I crossed the line there.
I took an anatomy class in when I was in nursing school. We had to do a cadaver lab. That was a
Did you have to cut it open?
very well. Okay, so our cadaver lab was only one night. So we basically went and spied on the WSU physical therapy students,
Right.
in their cadaver lab.
Oh, okay.
For one night. So, but
Okay.
it was still very, very different. I mean, that's a very surreal experience if that's not something that you have had any exposure to before.
Yeah.
Me myself, I had been a cop and a fireman before, so I had experience
Right.
with. Well, I mean, just to be real, much more gruesome scenarios than what was there that night in that very surgical,
Sterile
Right.
environment.
A clean, controlled environment.
Exactly.
Compared to like a car accident.
So let's say that let's say there's a terrible car accident or a train wreck or something, and there is carnage, and I like that word, by the way, carnage. There is carnage, and no disrespect to humans, but you know what I'm saying. Let's be blunt here. When you arrive on the scene, how do you go about collecting the body parts? Is there a certain way you got to do it? Do you get the head first? What do you know?
It basically it comes down to just logical, common sense thinking. I mean, for a body that's just flat on the ground, I mean, it's easy to just kind of roll them up on their side and stuff something underneath them.
Okay.
Use something like a sheet, and you can pull it out from the other side. All of a sudden, you've got a hammock to cradle them in.
Okay.
Just roll them on their side, tuck it under, roll the other side, and pull it out the other side, and you got a thing that's got 4 corners. You can grab 2, have somebody else grab the other 2, and you can just kind of like a swing and just carry him.
You've got like a homemade gurney or something.
Sheets is something I used a lot of because they're really quite versatile.
Right.
You can make a rope out of it, tie it around a torso that you might have to pull through something, or
Oh my
through
God.
this sort of stuff, or over a pile of books or something like that. It creates leverage, something to hold on to, especially in a state of decay where everything's slimy and you got skin slippage.
Ooh.
If you know what skin slippage is.
I don't. Elaborate.
Basically, skin slippage is after a certain point of decay, your skin just kind of separates itself from the rest. And you can, like, even with the slightest brush of just a hand swipe, you might just peel the skin all off, and it'll be like a layer of slime or lubricant or something between the skin and the muscle.
Wow.
Or the next tissue down there. It's just kind of like a blistering stage. Like let me look right here.
I have a very specific question.
What's that?
No, you go ahead and keep looking for what you're looking for, and then I'll ask
I
you
was just trying to find the exact
terminology.
time frame of when skin slippage will stop. I think it's about 4 days.
Skin slippage is what it's called.
Yep. I think after about 4 days of decay, it starts to do that. Could be about 3.
Now, this might be a dumb question, Bub, but at what point are they not going to bleed anymore? Like, there has to come a point there's no circulation. Like, there has to come a point that there's no more blood, right? Or no?
The lividity starts to settle instantly.
The what?
The lividity.
What's that?
The liver. That's basically all the blood pooling as gravity pulls it down.
Okay.
When a body dies, they pretty much just kind of fall over, or if they're not laying down or sitting, gravity just kind of takes them. So if they're laying like face down, their whole torso in the front, their stomach, their belly, their chest, their face, will turn dark purple and red. Everything, all the blood in their body is just pooling at the lowest point.
Wow.
And at some point at 12 hours to 30, 12 to 30 hours or so, the lividity becomes fixed where it's fully settled, and there's nothing circulating. Days after that, and there's numerous ways this will happen. In an outside setting, animals might start eating a body, a corpse. That's going to create holes and openings and things to, create places for blood to expel.
Have you ever picked up a body that there was a creature living in it when you picked it up?
Well, just bug infestations. I've picked up people that have been eaten. Turtles' favorite meal is human eyes. So
Are you serious?
it's very true. That's one of the first things they go for.
Oh my God.
So
That,
cons.
like that movie, the Miss Peregrine's.
Peregrine's.
They eat the soft parts first.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yep.
Smaller animals, cats will start eating, somebody that's in the house dead if they're not getting fed
Oh my God.
faster than a big dog.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's wild. So
And there actually was a scenario where I had to pick up an elderly woman in her house, and her cat curled up and died on top of her.
Oh wow.
that's a kitty broken heart, man. That's a kitty's
Right.
broken
And
heart
I was
right
like,
there.
wow. And I was like dumbfounded at that moment. I didn't know what to do. I was like, her cat died on top of her, not at the same time. Like the cat curled up and was in like a normal cat sleeping position, dead on top of her. And I was like, should I take the cat with her?
Oh my God.
And I didn't, but I wasn't sure if I should. It was a weird scenario that's never really happened to me other than that time. And,
Well, yeah, that would be.
Yeah, that really would be.
and I was like, maybe she wants to be cremated with her cat. At that point, I don't even know if she's getting cremated, but
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if I should take the cat or not.
Oh my
So,
God.
I didn't, and I kind of felt like I should have after the fact, but
Right. So have you, I don't know if I can ask this, and if it's something we can't discuss, just say we can't discuss this. But when, have you ever picked up a head, like a decapitated head?
Kinda.
Hey, I like where this is going. Elaborate, please.
More like a bifurcated individual,
What does that mean?
severed in half,
Oh my God, which direction?
horizontally, midsection.
Can I ask what chopped him in half? Because I've always had a fear of elevators that I'm going to get chopped in half.
This was a train.
Oh,
Or
Jesus.
Or about 12 train cars.
Oh my God. Wow. Whew. Was that shocking to you? I know you don't have the emotional response to dead things like if you.
Yeah, it wasn't really a shock. I basically, when I got to that scene, I just looked at it with a calculated intent, and I just did my job. I was just like, oh, I know what I need to do. I need to not get messy. I need to plant my foot there and there. I need to brace my back up against the bottom of the train, and I had to lift this half with nothing but upper body strength and move him out from under the train. Then I need to move and reposition and do the same thing for the other half. Just basically, it just comes down to logical thinking, the easiest route to, transport and do the job. But
So you have to
yeah,
be very
no emotions
efficient.
involved.
You have to be very efficient when you're there. I would think.
yes, and then you got to think, like, in certain accident settings, people are dead because of what they put themselves into.
Right.
I'm that guy that has to put myself in that same situation to get them out.
Oh my God.
So sometimes, like that scenario, I was under the train.
Oh my
You know.
God.
That's where he was. I had to go get him. Or anything like that. Or somebody's out in a lake. Guess who's going out in the lake to get him? That's key.
Oh, that's one thing I
You
wanted
know.
to ask you about. Have you ever had to pull a body out of the water?
I have. Yes, I have.
Tell me about that.
It's typically those are pretty simple for my position because um by the time I'm there to retrieve the body, law enforcement, legal forces, medical examiners, coroners have already been done doing their part. So the body's close to the edge of the water where I just, get
Kind
it
of
out.
reach
I don't
in.
have to get on the boat and go out and, I don't get to dive or anything, although that would be awesome. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Would you really?
I sure would.
Wow. So speaking of drowned victims, are after the police is done doing their thing, and when you get them, are they full of water?
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Does it seep out when you pull them out of the water, or what?
Well, that can happen even if they didn't drown. I mean, purge is always a possibility. I've been purged on by bodies. And that's basically anything that's in them coming out. So, and that can happen through any opening.
Any orifice. Do
Right.
you have certain like PPE you wear when you do this?
Yeah. There's actually different kinds for different scenarios. For example, you might wear a full Cybex suit that's got everything. It's a 6-foot onesie. The only thing exposed is your face, because you're going into like a bed bug, cockroach infested home or something like that.
Oh my god.
Or we might have like we have aprons and full body covers and stuff at the mortuary for stuff there and other things. We got face masks, and there's all kinds of different PPE for different scenarios.
Okay.
But it's not like every scenario needs one.
Right.
Right.
Just because you don't need PPE doesn't mean a body can't purge for any number of reasons.
Gas buildup, or it could be
You're
anything.
transporting them in a van and you hit a pothole, and that just sparks something.
Oh my god.
It could be that simple. Or you're shelving bodies in a cooler, and you rotate one the wrong way that's been on its back the entire time, and all of a sudden it gets turned on its side. That creates enough change where purge just pours out of the mouth or the nose or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. So I want to talk about burn victims. So have you had to pick up very many burned bodies?
Not a whole lot, but there has been a couple. All of them were pretty much morgue transports.
Okay.
I've never actually I did have one house burning. I did. Oh, I had a car too.
Oh
Okay,
god.
So I've had a few. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've had more than I thought. There's 3 people in a car. Yeah, so I've had some car explosions and burn victims from hospitals and 1 house fire.
Oh. Hey, Cliff is watching. Hi, Cliff. He said skull all. Sorry, that's one of our good friends. So tell me about
About the what?
How bad the burned victims that you've had to pick up their bodies, how bad were they burned? Were they like totally burned up or partly, or what?
The car, the 3 people in the car,
Roasted.
quite badly.
Oh my god.
Elderly oxygen user, extra bottles in the trunk.
Oh my god. Oh, that's heartbreaking. So
Yes.
when it comes to a burned body, I would imagine you'd have to be like extra careful when moving them, because a finger could fall off, or.
Well, I mean, that happens in decay too, not just burnings. I mean,
Man, I bet that is.
6-month deceased, that'll happen. The thing is, when you're removing a body, you have a job to do. You may not be able to do the job without some kind of damage to the body. It's sometimes gonna take that just to get the body in a bag or where it needs to go. Yeah. Sometimes they do it themselves. I mean, a car accident could, sever a leg or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Basically, things get documented before you start touching. After that, they know what's happened, after the fact. So
Right.
if you're removing a body from a house and you accidentally pull off an arm, it happens multiple times. I mean, it's just part of the job.
So if that does happen, do you just pick the arm up, put it on the body, and they sew it back together for the funeral?
No,
or
they
what?
don't ever sew it back together. If it's something like that, that's never going to be an open casket.
Have you? So is it ever the case that like it's a really? Let's go back. Let's revisit the organ donor thing. Okay, so I want you to go through kind of when I met you what we talked about with the organ donation thing. Elaborate why. Just talk about that.
Elaborate about why I wouldn't be an organ donor.
Yes.
I wouldn't be an organ donor because of the way I've seen the bodies from organ donation companies treated.
Jesus. Can you elaborate on what they do?
They don't seem to be as accurate with their removals as they should be. Things are messy. Sometimes things come back and they're missing other things that should still be there.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Maybe,
and the simplest part is, the body goes through the organ donation, and then the body comes back to be pieced back together for viewing. If they do a bad job doing the removals, it's harder and harder to make the body more viewable for the family.
Right.
It's not respectful to the body, and it's not respectful to the family.
Right.
If you need an organ and the family's authorizing you to take it, you should do that as meticulously as possible.
Yeah, like just out of respect for the dead and the
Exactly.
family,
And there's been scenarios where I've seen that the bodies were, I'm actually not at the stage of an embalmer, but in my perspective, the bodies were irreparable.
Wow.
Wow.
What's the worst botch job you've actually seen with talking about this particular circumstances?
A lot of times people, such as burn victims, need things like skin, something simple. Big place to get it is the back. Normal thing to donate is skin.
Mm-hmm.
That's not unheard of. However, they have, an area that they should take from that still leaves enough flesh for, closing up the body and looking presentable in a suit, in clothing and stuff like that, And yes, I mean, you probably don't know this. There's things like unionals that every body in a funeral is in underneath those clothing.
Wait, a what? What's it called?
Unional. Basically it's all plastic suits. Like there's a plastic shirt, long sleeve, plastic pants, all underneath.
So that's to kind of maybe keep the family in the dark about what is actually underneath the suit.
No, not at all. I mean, this is literally every funeral you ever go to. Everyone is in this suit. This is normal, standard.
Okay.
Everybody is in one. Basically, everybody. Well, I'm not going to say that. That's actually wrong because not everybody has to be embalmed. Embalming is not necessarily something that has to happen. However, bodies are embalmed, and that is a process of opening up the body and alleviating all the gases, puncturing all the organs and such, basically removing all the fluids and refilling it with embalming fluid, and then presenting the body that's preserved. Not permanently, it doesn't completely stop decay, but it slows it down. You know how they have traveling corpses for like art museums and such?
Uh-huh.
I have heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay, those are bodies that go through the embalming process repeatedly.
Oh my God.
Exactly. So
Whoa.
typically you do it once before a funeral. It makes the body safe. It makes the body safe for people to touch, for people to be around. After you die and decay starts, nature takes its course, bacteria builds, anything can happen. You don't know also how new viruses, can happen. Anything can, and what people can be susceptible to. So that's what embalming is for. It's to make the body safe, or people to have an open casket, have a funeral, for people to be around and touch to say their goodbyes.
Wow.
But it's a process that's kind of messy. Things can still leak. The embalming fluid could leak. They embalmers do their best to make everything sealed, but accidents can happen. So
Right.
the plastic's there just to be an extra buffer in case, a plug comes undone, because there's several plugs in a body. It's part of the embalming process.
What do they use to
depending on
plug?
how many ports. They have plugs. They're like little screws. They're made out of plastic. Anytime you do an embalming, you have to do at least one port for drainage. Depending on the body, everybody's different. You start going down, the body, different arteries, till the body's fully drained of its blood and fluids. You might have to go all the way down to the foot. You might only have to go down to the carotid artery. Everybody's different.
So I have to ask, when they're draining a body, do they tip it one way or another on the table? And is there holes in the table?
There is a hole in the table that drains into the drainage system. It's just a medical table. They have holes at the footing. And typically you see them lift the head up. I mean, it's an automatic table that, whether it's fully mechanic or it's operated by foot pedals or something like that, you can lift the feet up or the head up. It'll tilt any direction you want it to drain,
Oh my God. Oh, here's a question I have for you. So when let's say that somebody has died after CPR was performed, okay? I'm under the impression that the chest cavity is demolished after CPR is performed, especially on, little old ladies or men or, little 80-pound.
Not at all.
Do what?
Not at all.
Really?
Really?
So the chest cavity is still intact after CPR is performed?
Yes, it is. I've never seen anybody that's come back with a caved in or even slightly fractured chest cavity or sternum from CPR.
Oh, wow. Have
Yep.
you, Jeremiah?
I can't talk about that in particular.
Ever?
HIPAA.
But you've been a
think.
nurse for a long time.
Well, yeah, okay, so ribs are generally broken, but the chest cavity generally remains intact.
Okay, okay.
I have seen a few cases where that was probably not the case, but I can't get into specifics.
That's fine. You don't have to.
Right.
So,
That's fine. You don't have to. Oh my God, bub. This is holy moly. So Jeremiah, do you have any questions? I've been going like 90-0 with questions. Do you have any questions? I bet you do.
So my main questions are probably going to be easily answered,
That's okay.
and shortly answered. But
I'm just like taking all this in right now.
and it doesn't necessarily have to do with your line of work or your profession. It could be any experience you've had in any part of your life. But I'm curious if you have had paranormal experiences.
Oh yeah.
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
So you've never had a body like that you just got the creeps from?
Well, unless you consider witchcraft a paranormal experience.
Let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, we're witches, so that's okay. We can talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Apparently, I come from a family of them, so I just found that out when my mother died. Didn't even know it.
Oh.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how paranormal that is, I guess, but yeah. So
it's in the realm, man.
Yeah,
it's in the realm.
It's interesting for sure.
Right, it's in the realm. So it's just something I'm kind of learning about slightly because all of my sisters are witches. Apparently, I didn't know that, but they are.
So, Bub,
And my mother too. Apparently, my therapist is dead set on believing my mother was.
hey, do me a favor, Bub. So Jeremiah does something called rune readings. Okay, it's actually rune, bone, and tarot reading all in one. No, we do not have any human bones, which would be really cool if we did, but we don't. Reach out to him after we get off of the podcast, and you should set up, if you're curious or if you want one. I'm assuming you would give him a
I'd
give
do,
him
I'd do
a
one
free
for
reading.
free.
Yeah, a free reading. It's pretty.
Do what now?
If you after the podcast, if you want to get a free, Jeremiah does. It's a combination of tarot, runes, and bones, and it's one. It's a divination reading. If you are curious about that, he'll give you one for free if you want one.
Sure. I've actually only had one reading in my entire life.
What type?
She gave me a tarot reading back in February.
Okay.
Basically, so far it's been spot on, correct?
Cool.
So
yeah, it's pretty incredible how that all works. But so you've never had any like freaky things go on with a body. You know that movie on Netflix called the Jane Doe or whatever it's called. Yeah.
No, nothing super freaky. I mean, the freakiest thing is I've been punched in the jaw by a dead guy. But that's the freakiest thing.
Really?
Yep.
No, I mean like you've really been punched in the jaw. Was he really dead?
Oh yeah, he really was dead, and it was really hard enough to hurt.
He got one last laugh, didn't he?
Yep.
Oh
That's just that rigor mortis setting in,
Oh my god. So after the decaying process is going on, what actually happens to the eyeballs?
What, you mean like just the decay of the eyeballs?
Yes, like I'm assuming they dry up because there's no lubrication, but like what do they just sink in? Do they inflate? What happens?
Well, it depends on the process. I mean, if somebody gets a hold of them and they're doing an investigation, they might retrieve the vitreous fluid because that tells a lot about trying to find the time of death.
What's the fluid you're referring to? Is that in the eye?
The eye fluid is full of fluid. It's vitreous fluid.
Okay.
But also animals might eat them, so they don't typically like well, I mean, okay, so you can have a percussion injury, and that will make your eyes bust out of your head, like in any direction, but typically forward.
Like pop out like a ping pong ball or something? Oh my god.
They might still be attached. They might be dangling. Just depends on the pressure. It's basically a percussion injury is built up pressure inside the head area. So that might force the eyes from back pressure outwards.
Oh wow.
If your eyes are slightly open, you'll get sclera changes, and that's basically it'll darken where it's exposed to air. So when you open the eye, it'll have like a black line horizontally through it.
Oh.
Just a straight line, and you're like, that's strange. That's basically where the eyelids settled and that black area was exposed to the air.
Wow.
I gotta say, I mean, it's not really not exactly the same thing as what you were talking about, but I think one of the most surreal experiences I ever had in the emergency room was watching a doctor do an orbectomy.
What's that?
Actually popping the eyeball out.
Mm-hmm.
In order to because of an injury that this person had sustained, their eye was swelling and it was in danger of actually
getting crushed, or the pressure could damage the eye. So
yeah,
it was better
exactly.
to get it out.
So they had to pull it out of his head. They left everything intact, the nerve and everything was still intact, but they had to get the eye out of his head so that it didn't like rupture or suffer pressure damage.
Wow.
So yeah, that was crazy.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Um,
The body's an interesting thing to watch.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
have you ever had a family request that the tattoos be removed so they can keep them? Can you hear me?
Yes. I couldn't hear what you said though.
I said, have you ever had a circumstance where maybe it was a person that had a lot of tattoos, and the family, after their loved one died, they wanted the tattoos removed to keep?
That is actually stages past my job, so I don't actually deal with the families requesting anything like that. That would be more for a funeral director to set up.
Is that something that they can do?
I've actually heard of that. People can do that and preserve it and hang it on a wall.
Well, honey, you know what you got to look forward to when you're dead.
Yep,
I'm keeping your
definitely ways
tattoos.
to do that.
You can keep mine too. I'm gonna be cremated, so it's not gonna matter.
Yeah, you know.
You know.
Yep, that's our plan. Just cremation, super simple.
Yep.
I mean.
Yep. But
So-
I mean, you can even totally pull it off like the Big Lebowski and put me in a coffee can and just make sure you're downwind when you release the ashes
Not
in the air.
downwind, you want to
You're
be upwind.
Make sure you
Right.
release the ashes downwind. Yeah. So. Oh my God, this has been so much fun, man. So Bubba, I hate to say it, but we're about out of time here, so we need to wrap this conversation up. Jeremiah, do you have any other questions for him?
No, this has been an amazing conversation,
Oh my God,
man.
this
I'm
is-
so glad we had you on.
Yes, thank you so
yeah, thank
much.
you. I had a good time.
One more question from a viewer. Which is better, to cremate or to bury?
What was that?
One of the viewers asked, which is better, to cremate or bury?
The cremate or bury?
Yes, one of the viewers wants to know.
That comes down to personal preferences. For example, my thoughts on cremation would be I want to be cremated because whatever my spouse wants to do with my ashes is not up to me because I'll be dead.
You won't need them anymore.
Exactly. But if I'm buried and everybody moves away, nobody can come visit me if they choose to. If I'm cremated, they can take me with them, or they can have their own rituals, whether they, keep me on a shelf and,
Or they could
roll
eat
me
you.
in their blunt and smoke it once
There
a year.
you go. That's what I was getting ready to say. They could totally
dump my ashes in the
ingest.
ocean and let it,
Yep.
go out to sea.
Let
or
those turtles
let me
get a
off
hold
the
of
wind
it.
in the mountain.
Mhm.
They could do whatever they want. So,
Yes.
but if I'm buried, they don't get that choice anymore. They just get to, I'm locked into one place unless you pay for,
Yep.
me to be exhumed and relocated.
Oh man. That's. Oh my gosh. Have you ever been present when a body is exhumed?
When a body's wet?
Exhumed from the grave?
No, I haven't.
I bet that would
I
be
have
really
not.
rank, man.
I bet it would. I
Woo!
mean, I'm the guy that goes and picks up the bodies that are held for 6 months before they're gone to the crematorium, and I'm the guy that helps push them in the crematorium.
Tell me
You
about
know.
the crematorium.
It's, it's a big box. It's got buttons. The process is pretty simple. It's got a door. They heat it up to a certain temperature because of laws where when you're burning a body, it can't have black smoke emit from the chimney out into the sky.
Oh.
It has to be white smoke only. So they have I don't know the temperatures because I'm not a licensed crematory operator, but they have temperatures and guidelines that they follow before they put a body in to make sure it's hot enough with the right proper temperature to follow those rules. And then you got to remove things like jewelry, metal, things inside, even like pacemakers. They got to get cut out because they can't be burned up in the crematorium.
Like batteries and stuff from those internal medical devices could explode and stuff.
Right, something like that. It's not safe for it.
Wow.
So you remove all that. They don't worry about the zippers on the body bags. That's not something they worry about. But the body's placed in a box that you can put on rollers and roll into the chamber of the crematorium. And they close the door after a few hours, or every body size is different. It affects how long it takes. The ashes remain, and they're dropped in a chute where they're collected and bagged and put in a plastic container where I would pick them up.
Wow.
Wow.
Very much like a commercialized process of distributing a product,
Right, right. Hey, I have another question, kind of switching topics a little bit, but tell us about what you're going to school for.
I'm going to school for medical legal death investigation. Basically, that's just a death investigator for the medical examiner's office or the coroner, as opposed to a forensic death investigator, which would be a death investigator for a forensic team.
Okay.
They're both on scene at the same time and work simultaneously, but different jobs.
Okay.
Yeah, basically the initial stages of the body examinations on scene to investigate how or why or both that they died.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that could be trying to rule suicides and homicides or undetermined. As far as identifying bodies, I got to get into talking to the families, getting medical records, psychiatric records, talking to churches or schools or whatever to learn more about the individual. Trying to solve crimes, whether or not I can place fault on somebody that may have committed a murder or a manslaughter or any of those combinations. Things like that.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
Hey, I've got one last question, and I don't know if you can answer this or not, but what was the most gruesome experience you've had dealing with picking up the carnage?
Gruesome.
What?
I was just thinking gruesome. That would be the goriest.
Yes, the goriest.
The goriest would probably be gunshots. I mean, they're quite messy. And I've done several of them. I've picked up murder victims, and I've picked up suicide victims.
Oh.
I've picked up homicide, suicide victims on the same scene.
Oh my God.
And I've carried people that have had gun holes where, I've spilt brain matter down my leg or, things like that. It's part of the job. You're as careful as you can be. Accidents happen though,
Right.
You can only do so much with two arms, and, gravity does its thing. They're not supporting their head, their feet, their legs, their arms. Sooner or later, you're going to get a little messy.
Right.
But by far, gunshots, specifically shotguns, are the goriest and the messiest. To me, a shotgun to the head creates a bigger mess than a bifurcated guy under a train.
Really?
It shocked me too. This is my first time thinking about it, but like the mess was pretty contained under the train, and
right.
in just two areas, and everything bled out so quick. It wasn't like there was, a whole lot to deal with in terms of blood. However, a gunshot created a mess over 95% of an entire room, ceiling, floor, all four walls, and out the door.
Yeah.
That's when they would call in Dexter, right?
Right.
Wow. So
messy gunshots are messy.
Oh, Jesus. When you picked up the guy that was cut in half, did stuff fall out?
Oh, God.
I want to
No,
know.
everything stayed intact. I mean, he was severed. And same thing, I picked up many severations, I've picked up car accidents where an arm was severed, and, the stuff is still attached and it stays intact. You just grab, the parts where you can get a hold of, and you just pick it up and it all stays, and you just place it in a bag.
Wow.
But in terms of a gunshot, you can spend the afternoon. Well, and another type of accident that I have actually never experienced is one I was told to be prepared for. I'll tell that in a second. But like my experiences with gunshots, you can spend time picking up pieces of both hard and soft matter. When I got into this job, one thing everybody told me was to prepare for a trained suicide.
Oh God.
I've never experienced, but I've heard many people talk about it, and it's usually like a 5-mile hike of picking up pieces, is from what I hear,
So you're talking about like somebody who jumps in front of a train?
Right. That's like, just going full speed,
Oh my
doing
God.
its thing,
Oh, that would be that. How do you know when you get all the pieces? I mean, like in that, like
You
how would you
don't.
know?
You don't. You just do
The
what you can.
turtles would get the rest of it, right?
Or birds or
Or whatever.
coyotes or
Coyotes,
Ants.
you know.
Ants, maybe.
feral cats,
Yeah.
ants, yeah.
Right?
Ants would. Ants would. Okay, this is a little bit of a touchy question, but have you ever had to pick up a mother that died giving birth?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. Really?
Yes, I have.
Oh.
I've also had to pick up the children that died while they were being born.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I've done both.
Now, in that specific scenario, are the bodies still in the room, or do they take them somewhere separate for you to pick them up?
Both. That I can actually go pick them up on the floor, or I can go pick them up in the morgue if they're transported there already. It just depends on time frame of what the hospital or they're doing. They may need the room real quick and transport everybody to the morgue, and the mother to another room, and then I would just go make a retrieval at the morgue. But I've also gone to the floor where I pick up the baby from the hospital room with the mother in there,
Oh my God.
or even holding the baby.
Oh God. What do you even say? I mean, what do you say?
Well, there's not much to say. You let them grieve. You give them all the time that you can possibly give them, and you try to compassionately give them as much space and let them know and feel comfortable where the baby's going. I mean, they gotta understand there's a certain time to let go.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Have you ever, have you ever had it that somebody just doesn't want to give up the body? Like,
yes, multiple
baby,
times.
child, parent, grandparent, like you're there to take the body and they're like, no, you're not taking the body.
Yep, I've done that, and I've spent over an hour with people. But it's sometimes it comes down to, other people are still dying, and I have a job to do.
Right, right. So can
And
you?
that there's certain days, like the death rate, it's a wave,
Right.
Around certain times of the year, it spikes. Christmas time, for example, death rates increase immensely.
Wintertime death rates would probably increase as well because of the change in the seasons.
Yep. Wintertime, the elderly start dropping.
Yep.
Also, a reason they start dropping at Christmas. They finish Christmas and they feel completed, that they've spent some time with their family again, saw everybody one last time.
It's like
They
that
subconsciously
bargaining.
let go.
It's like that bargaining phase. Like, okay, I just want to make it to this, and then I'll be good to go.
And it
Literally go.
it can be that way for both natural deaths and suicides.
Absolutely.
True.
And
true.
it is. I was just talking about the elderly in general. It's all subconscious. I mean, I'm not
Wow.
talking about suicides. Just Christmas time is a time where they feel complete because they finished seeing their family for those holidays. They don't have another year in them. They don't know that. Their body does, though. But they held out long enough to spend time for the holidays one more time. I mean, the week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after Christmas, the elderly death rate increases quite a bit. Suicide is another thing that increases at the same time on top of that.
Speaking of suicides, have you ever had to get down a body that was hung?
Yes, many.
Oh my God.
I'm the guy that climbs up and gets them down a lot of the time, depending on where they're at, you know. But yes,
Wow.
more than I can count. I've had. I can remember 1 week where it was like a daily occurrence.
Jesus. So, do you have it where you transport multiple bodies at the same time?
Such as a car accident with the 3 victims in it?
No, like if, let's say you get a call that there's a patient that died at home and you got to go pick up that body, and then you get another call that, hey, there's another body around the corner, go pick that up. Do you transport multiple bodies in one carload?
Yes, you can. And yes, we did. My van, mortuaries use minivans, just so you know. And here's a fact: if you're ever gonna buy a used minivan, there's like a 70% chance you're getting a mortuary van.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, because they literally lease them and cycle through them every 2 years because they put a lot into them.
Literally a lot into them.
Yeah, minivan can hold 2 gurneys.
Wow.
When it comes down to whether that's allowed or not, that usually comes down to mortuary preferences. Certain mortuaries prefer that you don't transport 2 bodies at once. You do one at a time. And some, don't really have a preference. So it just depends. Some mortuaries only put 1 gurney in their van, and that's all they do,
Gotcha.
But the company I worked for, being the nature of the services that we did, it was more about quantity and space coverage. I mean, we covered Texas to Nebraska.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Just pick them up along the way.
Right. So they might say, hey, we got a body in Kansas City to go get and another one in Tulsa.
Oh, wow.
But typically I wouldn't be going to do both of those.
Do you ever talk
We had
to
enough employees to send people different directions.
have you ever found yourself talking to the bodies? Like if you drop one or, oh shit, sorry, man.
I'm actually probably certain that's happened,
Right.
But I can't think of any specific moments off the top of the head.
Because I would just think that if, you smacked one of the heads on the door frame or something, you would automatically apologize. I would.
Right. I bet you I've done that.
I've done it. I mean, not that I've hit anybody, dead bodies on a wall or anything, but, like there was one instance that I was doing post-mortem care, and literally I moved the pillow and the head immediately just, and it's
gravity.
like, oh shit, so sorry.
Right.
Please don't haunt me. Yes.
The way I see it, if there is like spirits and stuff in those bodies, they see what we're doing and they know we're there helping them.
Right,
so they're
right.
not gonna have problems with us.
They get the third party view there. Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever had somebody, like a family member, like want to ride with you when you take the body?
I've actually let people ride with me.
Okay.
I've taken my spouse. I've taken just happen to when you have that job and sometimes you're working 72-hour shifts.
Oh my God.
I take my vehicle, I leave it at the mortuary. I take the mortuary van. That's what I drive around for 72 hours. If I got to go to the grocery store and grocery shop, I got that van with me. If I get a call, I got a window of time I got to abide by.
Oh, wow.
So the van's with me always. So if I'm, hanging out with friends and they were like, hey, we want to go somewhere. I'm like, okay, I'm driving and I got 1 seat because I got 2 gurneys in the back. Yeah. But if I get a call and somebody's with me, they're going with me. Whether they get to see what's happening or not just depends on whether the body's inside where they can see it or where they can't see it, or whether it's outside where they can see it from where I park because they're not getting out of the van. But yeah, I mean, people have watched me do my job,
Yeah.
and yeah.
You know, and we're all human and everybody makes mistakes. Have you ever had like an oh shit moment when you were getting a body?
Absolutely. Well, not while I was delivering, actually. I was delivering a body to a mortuary that I won't name. And
I'm good
I
with that.
actually dropped it. I dropped the body on its head
Oh,
and
God.
in the parking lot outside, in full view of everyone
Oh.
passing by. And I mean, it happens. It was a complete accident. I don't know what happened. It just gravity did its thing, and somehow my gurney got caught and tipped upwards and dropped the guy.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh no. But he was still strapped into the gurney. It took 3 of us to tip him back over because he was just very top heavy. That's where it got stuck. I mean, I'm 260 pounds, and I jumped up off the ground and grabbed the back of the gurney, and I pushed myself up, and I'm not pulling the guy down. And I was like, uh-oh.
Wow.
So, but yeah,
Wow.
we got it under control, and just, it's one of those things. Accidents are going to happen,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
you know.
Have you ever lost
Sure, I
a,
feel bad.
have you
Have I-
ever lost a body?
No, I've never lost a body.
Or like it got delivered to the wrong place?
No, nothing like that's ever happened.
So, in nursing, it's the W's, what's the medication, what's the dose, who's the patient, when's the birthday. Is there something similar like that with what you do? Bag 'em and tag 'em? No.
Oh my God.
More like that would be part of the death investigation stuff. You're looking for the who and the what and the how,
Okay.
and the when and the why. I mean, those are your 5 things that you're basically looking for in an investigation. Trying to figure that out. It might be simple as oh, let's pull his wallet out of his pocket. Now we got the who.
Okay. Okay. All right, man. Well, I way overextended your taking advantage of this conversation. Bob, this has been incredible. I'm serious. Reach out to Jeremiah this evening after bit and schedule to do a reading if you would like.
Okay.
I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah, fun.
And thank you so much for coming on with us. This has been like amazing. Like, this has been so fucking cool.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, we'll be in touch and get a reading scheduled, and you have a wonderful night. And
You too, both of you.
We will. I'm sure we'll be in touch again, man. This was incredible.
Thank you so much, bud.
Yep, thank you.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
Well, that was pretty cool.
Wow. I mean, wow. That guy, like I said, I could not do his job. I can, I can take care of a dead person, but I could not do that end of it. Because like I said, the buck doesn't stop with us. The buck stops where he takes the body. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, there's no way I could not do that. Could you?
Yeah, I probably could.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, hats off to you guys who can, because but I think, what a perfect job for somebody who has something like what he has, the autism, he doesn't experience.
But the thing about that is, just talking to him, you'd never know.
No, you would never know.
You'd never know he's on the spectrum.
No, not at all.
So, it's... But at the same time, you're right. It's a perfect fit for him.
Yeah,
because he is able to separate that off.
Oh yeah,
So.
Talk about compartmentalizing at its finest.
Yeah.
But yeah, that guy's incredible, and he totally needs to come out with that death delay spray. So those of you who missed it, like, he was giving us the recipe for a spray to kind of not numb, but like kind of slow, like something to do with decaying bodies or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you think of anything you wanted to ask and didn't?
No.
I did.
But
I fucking did.
what?
I wanted to ask him if he's ever had to pick up a human heart. Like if there's ever been a heart that wasn't attached to the body and he had to pick it up.
Wow. Okay. I don't even know what to say to that.
There's nothing to say. I didn't get to ask it, so.
But one of the viewers just said the hard part of dealing with the families in that person's opinion.
I agree.
You know,
I agree. As long as they're not suffering, I agree.
Okay, so maybe that is surely just the hard part, but I have a hard time with that because that's the part where I really excel.
Oh, with the families?
Yeah, I do really. I'm really good at developing a rapport with the families and helping comfort them through that time.
Yeah.
So,
hello. 3.5 years later.
Well,
You're so good at that you ended up with me. So, yeah. Anyways. I'm serious. You're very, very good at it. And I'm surprised you haven't had more crazy women be like, oh my God. Like.
Well, our connection happened before.
Well, yeah.
Before he passed away.
I'm just saying that I would imagine that it would not be hard for, other women to really cling on to that compassion that you have. By the way, I'm Scorpio, and by the way, my Venus is in Scorpio, just so you know.
When I grabbed this beer out of the cooler a while ago, I just saw the blue and thought it was a Bud Light.
It's definitely
it's
not.
Not a Bud Light. It's an Angry Orchard.
There you go. There you go.
When you're expecting a Bud Light, that's a rude awakening.
Yeah, kind of like when you're...
It's not bad. It's just that's a really rude awakening.
I
That
think...
is way far removed from a Bud Light.
I think the awakening for me was one time I went to grab my soda. This was like a long time ago when Jeremiah, close to when we first got together. It was actually his tea that I ended up taking a big swish, swallow of, and definitely was not soda. And I was like, oh God, this is terrible. Terrible, I tell you.
Thought she was dying from a drink of sweet tea.
Oh yeah, it was just not expecting it, So yeah, we have gone way over, but I could have literally talked to that guy for like 3 more hours, if not longer. I'm serious. Like that was incredible. That was amazing, and I'm so grateful that he agreed to come on tonight. And it's so random how, circumstances lead to meeting people, and meeting people leads to having them on the podcast and talking about bag 'em and tag 'em. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's this has been incredible, and but yeah, I hope he reaches out to you because I think that would be really cool of you to do a reading for him.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
So Bub, if you are watching, please do. I was serious. Please do reach out and schedule one with him because it's pretty amazing. So, all right, you got anything else?
Yes, actually, I do. Thank you so much for watching. I want you.
The spider.
Oh, well, I wasn't gonna put that on camera, but
well, you might as
I
well.
can try here.
Something so small can leave such a mark.
Let's see here. Oh, I need to
Take the picture off. Yep.
change the camera angle here, the camera view.
Lena said, however, I could do without holding a human heart in the hand while I eat. All right, guys, see that little beauty right there? Yep, that's my spider. Well, yeah, one of them.
Maybe. I mean, that's...
Yeah. That's a brown.
Kinda.
That's a brown recluse spider, actually, and that's actually he said it was a female. It's a female brown recluse, by the way.
I don't know about that, but it's alive still.
And then I also learned today that the most savage of insects. Do you know what they are? Not arachnids. Arachnids. Insects.
Well, arachnids aren't insects.
That's what I'm saying. I'm being specific. So I learned today. If this has merit to it, I don't know, but I just assume that the guy was correct. Okay. He said that praying mantises and dragonflies actually are the most savage.
Well, yeah, the praying mantises eat their mates.
They get
shit.
what they want. They get some and then they eat some. Ha ha ha. Right? But yeah,
I
and
don't know
then the
about
dragonfly.
Dragonflies are pretty savage, though. Yeah.
He was telling me about ants. Ants also, you can die from ant poisoning, and apparently in some other country they had like an ant eating contest. Guy died from it because of how poisonous all of the amount of poison he ate from the ants killed him.
Well, the ants weren't cooked well enough. If you cook them well enough,
Well, they must have been raw.
It denatures the poison.
They must have been raw then, because. Anyways, we're getting way off track, guys.
Yes.
This has been
Drink,
a
by the way.
blast. This has been a blast, and thank you guys so much. Light a candle for us if you have time. We definitely could use all the positive energy, blessings.
We're doing good.
Well, yeah, we're doing good. We have no choice. We will prevail.
So,
I feel like that's a band. We will prevail. Is there something like that?
I prevail.
Maybe. I think one of the kids listens to them.
I prevail, I think. Anyway, the only other thing I have to say is thank you guys so much for logging on and sticking with us. And keep an eye out in the morning for my Tuesday morning podcasts. I'll do the Huygens Runes at, well, I don't remember what time I start them. I'll have to look at my calendar for that. But Huygens Runes, Imagine Greater Things, and In My Humble Opinion. And tomorrow's In My Humble Opinion is going to be fun. I might piss some people off, but I'm going to be fun.
It's your humble opinion.
So.
Today, speaking of, I have to say this. Today I know we don't talk politics, but I thought this was really sad. So today one of my good friends was telling me that she posted a picture of herself kissing a Donald Trump, cutout, basically. And her friend from like 3rd grade, mind you, her friend, apparently like just blew up her phone with hate mail, basically, about it. And, like, pretty much indicated that if she's going to support Trump, she didn't want anything to do with her anymore. From a friend since 3rd grade, and she's in her, like, mid-30s now.
Wow.
And I looked at her and I said, you know, you need to look at that girl, regardless of her stance or your stance. You need to look at her and say, you know what? I've known that you don't agree with me, but I've never once called you out on it, and I would appreciate the same respect.
Right.
Sorry, this is not for this show, but I just had to say that. Like, how sad is that, you know?
Well, it is. It's a very divided and sad time right now.
But that's why we do this show, to get some humor. And guess what, Carl? I've got my Feed Me, my Audrey shirt on from Little Shop of Horrors. Carl's going to sign it for me. He's going to autograph it. I guess he could autograph my boobs, right?
No.
No, I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding, Carl. That was a bad joke.
No. That's those are mine. Those are mine.
I was totally kidding. I mean, you know, because I just thought next time I see him, I'll wear it and I'll have the shirt on, and the only option to sign it would be, you know, the boobage area.
Well, you got a back.
He'd have to use like
you got a belly.
Yeah, but he's got to... Anyways, never mind. Okay. Well, yeah, we are crazy kids, Carl. Anyways, guys, don't forget to shoot us messages for slogans for us. So in the meantime, until we get something new...
Don't be afraid of the dark.
Don't be afraid of the dark. And we'll post next Monday's show on Thursday. So be on the lookout for our next guest. Anyways, thank you, Bub. You were amazing. And we appreciate you so much. Bye.
Have a good night and a good week.